Okay, let's talk about Flora and Ulysses, 1927. So, the woman is holding two things. What is the woman holding, everybody? Shovel and a sack. Who is that woman? Flora's mom. So, what is Flora's mom basically telling Dad? Hey, George, what did she say? What is she saying? Use the shovel and the sack to kill Ulysses, right? And then George is very hesitant, and Flora is very shocked, and she is holding Ulysses very tightly to protect it, right? Okay. So I think this novel was very unique and it had some humorous and hilarious elements hidden everywhere. So I wanted to discuss that. So the first moment that I thought was very hilarious when Ulysses sat in front of the computer keyboard, and then he was very nervous because he wanted to prove his talent, prove his ability, right? So he was like, his whiskers, 수염, his whiskers were trembling, and then he thought to himself, I'm a superhero. I need to prove myself in front of other people. And then he sniffed his own tail to calm himself down. I think that was a little bit oddly funny. And then somebody fainted. Somebody passed out. Who is this woman lying down? That's Aunt. That's Aunt. Somebody passed out. Yeah. And then hit her head while fainting. Who was that? Aunt Tootie, right? Aunt Tootie. And then what is this girl Flora holding everybody in her hand? Yeah, what kind of pea is that? Frozen pea. And then her head, part of her head got swollen because she hit her head at a table while she was fainting. So she read these safety tips from terrible things can happen to you. So she took the frozen piece out of the fridge and then she's putting that onto her head, right? That part was a little bit odd and funny. And then George, Flora's dad, he has a weird habit when he meets people in the neighborhood. What does he do, everybody? He introduces himself. What does he say, everybody? I am George Buckham. How do you do? And then he even introduces himself to people that he already knows, right? Already had met before and already well knows, but then he still introduces himself in in random moments, even at the restaurant, at the donut restaurant, when all of the things are going on. He's like, how do you do? I'm George Buckham. And then he is just a clueless and helpless guy. So those moments are very funny and hilarious to me. Yeah, okay. And then share your moments of fun with me. Okay, let's move on to the second part. I think Flora's mom and Flora's dad, they're very different from each other. They have opposite personality. No wonder they got a divorce, right? So Flora's mom, she's kind of really strict and she is kind of cold-hearted. She's kind of heartless. So she gives on sharp order, bury the squirrel in the head with a shovel and bury the squirrel in a sack, and then just like deal with it. That's what she tells George. So, and then she believes that the squirrel might be diseased and then it could cause some kind of infection or a disease. That's why she wants to get rid of it. So she's a very merciless woman. Yeah, and then she's very strict. What about George? George is kind of gentle and then he's kind of shy. He doesn't really have a strong personality. He doesn't yell back. He doesn't shout back. He doesn't argue with the mom. But uh, but his eyes are kind of empty. He's kind of crazy. He's like quietly crazy inside his own head. He doesn't show it with his action. Yeah, he's kind of clueless. I think he's hiding a lot of curiosity inside and he's hiding a lot of wonder inside. So he's probably he's probably a very childlike character. He's an adult, so he needs to act gently, adult-like, but he's actually hiding a little child inside himself. That's why he's kind of similar to Flora, right? And then he has a weird way of having a conversation. He wants to avoid conflict. He wants to avoid arguments. So when somebody asks him a question that could lead to fights, he answers by asking another question. So when Flora says, "Hey, Dad, are you really gonna kill Ulysses with the shovel?" And then he's like, "What shovel?" And then he asks this question to avoid arguments and fights, right? And I think Flora is similar to both of them. Flora has a very strong personality and confident personality, just like her mom. And Flora, she's warm-hearted, just like his dad. So that's why she wants to protect Ulysses. And she is full of curiosity and imagination, just like her dad. So she is a mixture of the both, and then she inherited both of their characteristics. Okay. All right, so let's talk about the funny movies and then the parents for 45 seconds, everybody. Yeah, we're gonna practice very loudly all together. Yeah, okay, practice round. Ready, set, start. Okay, those funny moments include when Sudi passed out while looking at the squirrel typing something, and when she passed out, she hit her head on a table, and she got a large swelling in her head, and that's why Flora brought a frozen bag of peas, just as she read from terrible things can happen to you. So when everybody is acting and reacting so seriously, that was a moment when I cracked up while reading the novel. Also, the personalities of the parents are very different from each other's. That's probably why they got a divorce. They just couldn't get along with each other. Mom is very strong and confident, and she's very strict, whereas the dad is very gentle and very imaginative and clueless. All right, okay, let's move on to Sua. All right, so Sua talk. Subini practice. Okay, ready, set, start.
This novel has very fun and humorous elements,
Mm.
and I think this book has an impossible and a fantasy topic because I like the part that Ulysses was vacuumed by a vacuum cleaner and Flora saving him, and I think having us doing a CPR to a squirrel is impossible, but it is possible in the book, so I think it was fun. And I like the characteristics of the characters because, for example, William's fiber was a strange guy answering all the questions.
Oh, okay, yeah, like little squirrel being vacuumed by a gigantic vacuum cleaner, and then somebody performing a CPR, and all of a sudden he's perfectly fine and has that magical ability. That's really funny, and it doesn't make sense. Thank you, Sua, for sharing. Okay, souvenir talk and funny practice. Ready, set, start.
Flora's mom has a really strong personality.
Yeah.
She has little straight on Flora.
Uh-huh.
In the book, there was there's a conversation with Flora and
Oh.
mother. So I think Flora is more confident with her father. And father has opposite personality with her mother. He's really brilliant man, and he has a little kindness in her heart. So I think Flora and her dad is kind of good friends.
Oh, okay. So Flora and Dad get along better because Mom forces her ways on Flora, but Dad, he is willing to listen. Okay, you don't want to kill the squirrel? I'm not gonna kill the squirrel. Yeah, that's why they get along better. Okay, thank you, Subi. All right, Juanita, don't cover yours and practice. Ready, set, start.
Flora's not alone is a special woman and doesn't care about anyone else. And on the other hand, Flora's father is patient and wise. I think their characteristics are really different, and it could make Flora a cynic. The reason is I think they could fight every day because their mind and thinking could be always different. So cynic, loneliness is a feature of cynic, and it could make the our character Flora could be different.
Oh yeah, because they're so different and opposite from each other. They have fights every day, and Flora doesn't want to get hurt by those fights, so she is putting up a defense in front of her. I'm a cynic. I don't feel anything. That's how she protected herself from the arguments that her parents were having every day. Very good, honey. Okay, 좋았다. 현우 practice. Okay, ready, set, start.
Flora's mother and Flora's father
Uh-huh.
had opposite personality.
Uh-huh.
Flora's mother had a strict and strong mind and a cold heart.
Mm-hmm.
And also, she Flora loves Ulysses, but she tries to kill the Ulysses with the shovel. And also, she loves Mary and that is Flora. And also, Flora's father is very warm heart and a little bit shy. And also, I think he's a little bit crazy. He knows somebody, but he says like, "Hello,
Oh yeah, he's shy and quietly crazy guy. He's even crazier than mom. Yeah, I agree. Very good. Oh, and Flora's mom, how can she kill Flora's best friend? That's very cruel. Okay, thank you. Hyunwoo, Juho, cover your ears and practice. Ready, set, start.
The funniest part for me in this novel was that Flora disappeared to the school because usually people like humans just disappear to the other person, but Flora did it to the school that is animal, so I was not able to understand Flora's mind. And I think Flola's mom is very crazy, so she's very sensitive, shouting to Flola, but Flola's dad is very kind and does not even shout to Flola, tries to protect
Oh yeah, mom is really busy and sensitive. She's always yelling at Flora. Whereas dad, he's more easygoing and then he's more gentle towards Flora. Very good, Yanu. Thank you. Juhota, Sevi, cover your ears and practice. Ready, set, start.
the fences of this really soon. Flora to the city of the Oasis because usually people go to the city and to the school and to the city area. The school becomes first school and second is the before school because Ulyss was begging back, playing back, but he was thinking, I'm hungry and Ulyss is singing to me, and like Ulyss was bleeding in his hands. He was thinking of his death, like this. So I think that since when the Ulyss is the funny.
Oh yeah, Ulysses' transformation is very unlikely and funny. He was a squirrel who only thought about food and I'm hungry all the time. And all of a sudden, he became a genius squirrel who writes poetry. Very good. Thank you, Juho. Alright, Sevenita, Jungwoo, cover your ears and practice. Ready, set, start.
I think the story has many interesting and different themes. There are many characters in this book, but all the characteristics are all different. So the book is more funnier because their various dudes are all calm. The good characters are all different too. Also, there are many comics in the book, so you can understand
Oh.
easier and funnier in this book.
Oh, there are many characters and they are all different and then they're all unique in their own ways. Tootie, William, Dad, and Mom, they're all acting weirdly. That's why the novel is pretty funny. Okay. 70, thank you. Total talk and Yuna practice. Ready, set, start.
This novel there has many humorous moments. First, humorous is all to powder
Uh-huh.
to it, and second one was humorous jumped and escaped and reached past my head because squirrel have they have to be recognized the sound. And the third one was the vacuum. George Pullman always introduced himself to everyone.
Oh yeah, how the little squirrel ate up all the cheese crackers and then how he landed on top of Rita's head and there was such a ruckus and commotion in the restaurant. Now those were the really humorous moments. Thank you for sharing, Jungho. Okay, Yuna Tang and everybody don't move. Okay, ready, set, start.
Very funny that the squirrel raised the vacuum cleaner. I can't raise the vacuum cleaner because it is so heavy. But the squirrel is weaker and smaller than me, but it weighs. And I think Flora's mom has very cold heart, and she always doesn't pay attention to her daughter.
Oh.
On the other hand, Flora's dad has a warm heart, and he always pay attention to his daughter.
Uh-huh.
I think Flora is very lucky that she has a dad.
Oh yeah, Flora's mom, she is a novelist, so she's busy and she's cold-hearted, doesn't pay attention. Dad is warm-hearted, but he's a little bit crazy and full of curiosity. Very good, Yuna. Okay.